All right, guys, welcome. Today I will be out. I won't be doing any live Zooms. It's Monday, but I need you guys to do this full Edpuzzle and do the best you can with it, and then the quizzes after. Now, this work, show all work, because I'm going to make you do a flip grid on Wednesday with this work. You're going to have to show me all of the work you did. That's on Wednesday, okay? So you have to show me that you wrote this down. So take some time right now, write this all down, and then I'm going to ask you, first of all, I'm going to ask you to tear this apart and give me something with it. And you should know right away what to do. When you see this, you should think right away, I should find the entire equation. So go ahead and do that. Do the best you can. Give me the entire equation. I'm going to go over it in a second, but the Edpuzzle is going to ask you, what is the equation right now? You, of course, should know that you're going to go y minus y, y minus y, x minus x, -3 over -1. Two negatives becomes a positive. So this is y equals 3x. Now, if you're lost on the second part, pay attention. I'm going to plug in the first point. I'm going to put 1 here where my x is. I'm going to put 8 here where my y is. Now, does 8 equal 3 times 1? Does 8 equal 3 times 1? Nope, but we got to make this sentence true. So what can we add at the end to make this true? We can go, I'm going to make this here, and we're going to go plus, what can we make this true? Plus 5. All right? Now that you've done that, this is your equation for this side. Show me all your work. There may be questions that says, basically, what do you notice between function A and function B? If I said, which slope is larger, A or B? Okay. Which y-intercept is smallest, A or B? Okay. These are the kind of questions you're going to see. So you have to be able to look at this and say, okay, I know that this is my slope. This is my y-intercept. So if I look at my slopes here, for sure, function A. Slope's bigger, it's 4. This is 3. If I look at my y-intercepts, which one's smallest? 5 versus 6? B. Okay? And these are the kinds of questions you're going to see later on. All right, so the next question, I want you to copy all of this down. So this is taking a little bit, again, this is like almost like kind of your notes as well, but I want you to write out this table. And then I also want you to write out these questions, okay? This one's a little more intense. As you've written out the table, whenever you see a table, you should know right away what to do, just like we did in the last problem. So go ahead and the first question I'm asking, we'll say this is 1, 2, 3. The first question's asking, what is the slope? So go ahead and find the slope. Now, with this question, when you see decimals, use your calculator. You're allowed to use the calculator. And on the benchmark, there's going to be a button on the top right that it has a calculator button while you're in the test. So it's super easy to use. Every time you use Illuminate, we're going to keep putting that function in there. So let's go ahead and go y minus y. And what is the slope for this one? If I go ahead and go to my calculator, move this out of the way, I'm going to go y minus y, 205, right, minus 210, and I get this part here, negative, and then, let's go back here, 1 minus 2, that's just negative 1. Okay, so anytime something's over negative 1 or 1, we have these two negatives are going to cancel out, right? You can't have two negatives here. That just makes it a positive. But like, think about what's 2 over 1 equal? Just 2, okay? Same with this. Think about this in money. How much money is that? That is 5 cents. So basically that's 5 cents, okay? So think about this as your slope is actually going to be 0.05. Now, this is a tough question. What is your y-intercept going to be, okay? Now, if I know this is my slope, and that's where it goes, right? And we're good with that. Where is my y-intercept going to be? Well, let's take the first one we can. We'll take the 1 here, and we'll take this here, this y. We know anything times 1 is itself. It doesn't change, so it's going to be 0.05. And this is 205. So how do I get from 5 cents to $2.05? What must I add? Plus 2. Okay, so now that you've done that, write that down if you haven't. That's your slope, and that's your y-intercept. So from here, this is 2, okay? Starts at 2. That's our y-intercept. If we were to graph this, this is our slope. So we have our whole equation. The next question here, question 3. What if your x value was 10? So I'm going to show you right now on your table. We've done a lot of these ones too. What if this was 10? Your x value is 10. What would your y be? So you're going to plug in 10 right here, and you're going to solve all of this side here. Solve this whole side here with 10 there with your calculator, and give me what y would be. And if you wanted to use your calculator, which you should, it would be 0.05 times 10 plus 2. And look what I get, 250. So that would be, my answer here would be 250. And all I did, they told me what the x value was. I just had to plug it into my rule. Now this is called a equation. We've been calling it an equation. It's also called a function. And if you remember the first question I gave you, I didn't really talk about this. Function A versus function B. They also like to call them functions in the math book, okay? Functions, or also call them, I call them rules. This is the rule you're going to follow. Those are all 3 different things you can call this equation. That's written in slope-intercept form. You could graph that too, all right? Keep staying with me. All right, for this next problem, write down these 2 tables. And what I want to see is you obviously do what you do with these tables. You know what to do. But you're going to have to explain. This one's not going to be a simple multiple choice question on the Edpuzzle. I want to know, I'm going to use the words, language arts. I want to know the similarities between these and the differences. So if they have something in common, I want to know what they have in common. If they have something different, I want to know what's different. But in order to do that, you must solve both of these tables, okay? Go ahead and solve both tables and give me an answer Give me a couple sentences in your answer. Now, the Edpuzzle will not grade it. I will have to grade it on my own. So I'm going to do this once we're done with this. At the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and go through all the questions and grade those really quickly, okay, to see if you get it or if you're struggling. All right, so let's go to this side. If you did 80, this is what you should have done. And then 1 minus 2, I would have gotten negative 60 over negative 1. Negative 60 over negative 1 equals positive 60. Okay, and again, that is my slope. So if you're still kind of confused, this video should help you. All right, then your goal is to eventually figure out what is the y-intercept. Well, if I plug in, I'll put it down here. If I plug in 1 here for my x, 80 for my y, does 80 equal 60 times 1? Does 80 equal 60 times 1? No. 80 doesn't equal 60. 80 only equals 60 when I add 20 to it. Okay? Then I finally get my 80 equals 80, and it checks out. So plus 20, right? So that's my equation on this side. Let's go to this side over here. I'm going to do 70 minus 120. And if you start reading these tables, it starts to get pretty easy that you're just going to subtract down, okay? But what if the table was on its side? That could mess with you. So don't always think it's always going to be perfectly set up like this, but this one is negative 50 over negative 1. If you needed to use the calculator, use it, okay? So I know that's going to be 50. And if that's 50, let's plug in my x and y. Okay, so does 70 equal 50? Only when I plus 20. Remember, we want it to be 70 equals 70 here, okay? We want the sentence to make sense. So does 70 equal 50 times 1 plus 20? Now it does, yes. So if I said write out the similarities, you would say they both have the same y-intercept. They both have the same y-intercept. If I said what are the differences, you would say they have different slopes. Table A's slope is 10 more than table B's. All right, and that would have been a perfect answer. All right, also on your paper, I just did, okay, so if I showed you, if I was going to do a flip grid, because again, I said Wednesday, I want to see your work for the flip grid. I want to see you actually show me what you did. You would be able to show me this whole page. This is what the Edpuzzle page was, okay? We're wrapping up the Edpuzzle because now I'm going to send you the quizzes. And what I want to see on the quizzes, again, I want to see your work you completed from the quizzes, okay? So you have to show me quizzes work. Because you can't just do the quizzes. What I'm so tired of is people just guessing. And when I see your quizzes, I can see how fast you're answering questions. There's no timer. So when you're on a quizzes question, take your time, do the work. Again, we're going to be taking tables and turning them into equations. All right. That's what I want to make sure you guys are super good at. All right. That you can handle that. And if you can't handle this, we're going to have to talk about it on Wednesday. All right, guys, do the best you can. I will see you later. Sorry I couldn't be there today on Monday.